Hey everybody, my name is Karen O'Donnell and I am doing a podcast here with my friend Karen Retardo. Hi Karen.
Hi.
So our company here is Holistic Inner Balance, and what we do is we provide functional medicine nursing for women, for men, just to kind of get started on the root cause of why we have illness and why we have symptoms. And a big part of our business is stress reduction. So we created this podcast to empower people to listen to their bodies, to really get to the root cause, and to have those extra tools for stress reduction. And we really want to highlight self-care. So I'm so excited to introduce Karen. Karen Retardo is a working utilization manager, nurse, and ICF certified coach. She sits at the intersection of clinical expertise and entrepreneurial identity transformation, a space very few coaches can authentically occupy. She works with nurse entrepreneurs, nurse coaches, and nurse consultants. As an AAPI nurse, so Asian American Pacific Islander nurse, she tends to attract AAPI nurses and women of color coaches who have invested heavily in courses and certifications but still feel really stuck. She helps them see that the gap isn't a strategic problem, it's an identity problem. Through her founder consciousness matrix, Karen guides clients through 3 layers of transformation: aligning their natural wiring, recalibrating their identity from employee to founder, and rewiring the subconscious beliefs that keep them playing small. You can find her on Instagram, and we will put those links on here. But Karen, welcome. Thank you again for coming on.
Oh my goodness, pleasure, Karen. I just love playing with you. So, like, yes, when you asked me to be a guest, I'm like, of course. Yes.
So, just to let the audience know, Karen and I have met through the National Nurses in Business Association. We met a few years ago and we have followed our journeys together. And Karen has an amazing business. And before we dive into what your business is, I usually like to ask people the first question. So it's really important for people to have self-care and self-awareness. So what is one thing that you like to do for yourself with self-care?
I love meditation, Karen. I think that's something that we are passionate about. And journaling. I do like journaling. So those are really part of my daily self-care. It's like brushing my teeth.
I love that. And, as nurses, we have all of these tools that we've been taught and we teach our patients. But for myself, I really have never explored journaling up until recently. So it has been really powerful. And I don't know why I'd been hesitant to do that, but all of a sudden, I've started journaling and it really is freeing. It feels like you put it on paper and you can just kind of let it go. And it's one of those really powerful tools. So thank you for sharing. I love that you journal and meditate too.
Yes. And I do a twist on journaling. Sometimes I would do spiral journaling, Karen, where it would be a circle, just writing in circle. And
Uh-huh.
other one that I do is there's this book called The Power of Your Other Hand, where I would write the question, the journal prompt with my dominant hand, and then I would answer with my non-dominant hand because like it access a different part of our brain. So
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Oh my gosh, that's
yeah.
great. So tell me about your business. What was the start of your journey and where you are today?
Oh, well, like this idea, since I moved here to the US, I migrated here in 1995. But like Karen, like what I saw even at that early stage of nursing, like we're so burnt out, like we keep taking on extra shifts because sometimes we just don't want to, we think about our patients and we say yes to overtime, even though we're already tired. So at that time, I already told my dad, I'm like, oh, I see nurses, we give and give, but we don't take care of ourselves. So like that seed of starting a business was already in my mind in late 90s, around 98, 99. But
Mhm.
it was only after the pandemic that I put a stake on the ground. I'm like, okay, because I started even my coaching journey in the early 2000, but nursing life and nursing got in the way. I didn't complete it. Although I've used it at work, Karen, like those coaching skills will always be good to be used at work.
Yeah.
But it was 2020 that when I decided, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put a stake on the ground because pandemic was really hard for us nurses, and it made me realize like there's gotta be more than just working.
Yes, yes, definitely. So I love that it started at one particular point and then it has kind of grown and morphed a little bit since the pandemic. And that's a really important point that you make that yes, nurses were burnt out before the pandemic, and that was in and of itself such a terrible stress on, society, on everyday people, but the frontline workers were absolutely devastated. And that ability to try to be with them and train them in terms of what they need to do for themselves is really important. So let's go past COVID and, within the past few years, how have things changed with your company?
Oh, what's been changed? I really narrowed onto like, my niche, who I want to serve. So, and there's been like, public speaking opportunities that came up through it, but like just really helping nurses, nurse coaches that's doing like both worlds, nursing and starting their own business. Because Karen, we've been, well, like for me, I can only speak for myself, but like the employee mindset, being a nurse for so long and then transitioning to being an entrepreneur, it takes a different kind of mindset.
Yeah.
So like, it's been slowly growing and at the same time honoring my capacity because I'm still doing nursing and I don't want to burn out. So just taking on a few clients that I could handle. And for me, a few meaning between 3 to 5 per month. That's my sweet spot.
Yeah, yeah. So you have the best of both worlds. You can still practice nursing and you can have the entrepreneurial experience to then blend them both together and have both of your personalities happy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yep.
how do you juggle both of those things and still take care of yourself and make sure that you have that work-life balance?
Well, time blocking for sure. Like there's certain days I'm like, okay, like these are the hours that I would do like either content creation and then clients this slot. So like really being um honoring those time slots and at the
Mhm.
same time flowing with it if something comes up that needs to be reshuffled or rescheduled.
Yeah.
I do that. And self-care, Karen.
Yeah.
It's so important because I
Yeah.
want to give from my overflow, not from my leftovers or reserve.
Yes, yeah, I love that point. And, we as nurses find it so much easier to take care of everybody else. And, our own needs don't always come to the priority or come to the forefront of what we should do. But absolutely an important point that if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of others, either from the coaching perspective or from your patient care perspective. So that's absolutely 100% agree with that. We have to align with ourselves and our own care. Now, um, just kind of jumping back a little bit, I like to ask people, knowing now what you know, what would you give yourself as, say, a 20-year-old new nurse starting out? What kind of advice would you give yourself knowing what you know
Oh,
now?
I think like really know yourself first.
Mm,
Because once that foundation is really deep, I call it like, personal foundation. Like you need to have a strong personal foundation. You need to know your values, your strengths. So when things happen, it won't be easy to push you. So
mhm.
that's one thing, like, know yourself like really, really well. Strengths, values, what you love to do. And I would also tell my 20-year-old self, Karen, not to care so much what other people think of me, right?
Yes, yes.
And at the same time, it's part of like Erickson's growth and development. So
Right.
I don't know. I'm like, it's part of the journey, but like I wish I didn't pay attention so much onto what other people think of me. Because they're so busy thinking about themselves too.
Yes, yes. So I completely agree with that. I think that we, especially when we're young and impressionable, we think that everybody's opinion is what we need to focus on, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's through experience that we learn not to care as much. But yes, it's true. Like if you aren't in the forefront of somebody's mind, if you're not in front of them, then they probably don't even remember that they had a conversation with you because they're part of their own lives, right? They care about what they're doing. Yeah, yeah, I agree. So
Yeah.
take me through a journey of what your clients would go through. How would you go about the coaching aspect with somebody?
Yeah. Well, like for me, of course, doing that chemistry check first, making sure that we're aligned. And if it's a both yes, like, a resounding yes for both of us, then yes, we would move forward.
Mhm.
And I usually start with like a shorter container, 3 months, although I've been thinking, Karen, like, oh, is 3 months really enough for transformation to change? Sometimes it takes longer. So, but
Mhm.
like I start with 3 months container, and
Mhm.
it's twice a month or bi-weekly sessions,
Okay.
60 to 75 minutes per session. But like, yeah, the very first step though, like is really asking, I have this assessment called the Gallup Clifton Strength. So they need to discover their strengths first, which is their
Mhm.
zone of genius. And then I also do this a values clarity matrix where it's a list of values, and then they would rank those values. And then
Okay.
after that, like I have my master's in spiritual psychology, and what I learned there, not only should we set goal line goals, which I mean like promotion, house, more money, that's very physical world goals,
Mhm.
but also soul line goals, which is like, okay, what's the quality that you want to deepen or expand?
Okay.
So
A
doing
soul
both
line
of
flow. Oh,
yes,
interesting.
soul line. Yeah, so goal line goals and soul line goals.
Wow.
And it's really customized to what they need. I
Mhm.
do one-on-one right now. I'm thinking group, but right now, like, doing one-on-one and just incorporating all of the modalities that I know, Karen. Like I use Lego series play coaching too. So
Okay.
yeah, so just doing
Wow.
all of those. Like, yeah, so many. And I also do date selection. So sometimes I would layer date selection, Chinese astrology based on what days are good for them to launch something or to talk to someone.
Oh,
But
wow. So that's really unique. That's like, there are so many coaches out there, right? And, either business coaches, nurse coaches, you put coach on your label and, it's like so generic. But you have a really unique kind of individualized program that you have customized for yourself. And I think a 3-month investment in, that person's future is really important. But I can see that people would want further than that, maybe like a 6-month
yeah,
investment and, continue on their journey because it sounds like what they would get is a lot of value from all of your different modalities that you use it.
yes, yes, yeah.
That's so great. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So let me ask you, where do you see yourself in your business in 5 years?
5 years. Oh, I do love speaking, Karen. So I want to see myself like, speaking more on nursing conferences or even open to other industries that would really help them like clear those limiting beliefs, imposter
Yes.
syndrome, like,
And I do have to say
worthiness.
that I have seen you speak and you are very eloquent and you have a great ability to get your point across in a very kind of caring, charismatic way. So you are a great speaker. So I
Oh,
encourage everybody to reach out to you for public speaking.
thanks, Karen. Like, yeah. And I didn't even know that I love speaking until like, the NNBA and
Mm.
yep, speaking and more coaching and like maybe, hopeful, well, like in 5 years. Like, yes, group coaching, just so I could make a bigger difference, like a difference, but not so big. Like, I'm thinking 10 to 15, like max for group coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you could have a bigger audience for public speaking for sure.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
So tell our listeners how they would be able to reach you.
Yes, well, they could, I'm on LinkedIn, so they could just search my name. I have such a very unique last name, and me and my sister say like that's our marketing stuff.
Yeah.
Because who has that last name? If they have that last name, we're definitely related. So like, yeah, just search me on LinkedIn and Instagram, Karen Retardo, and you'll find me. And I'm also on Substack. Karen, like one thing that I've discovered too through entrepreneurship is that I love writing too. So
Mm.
I'm on Substack, LinkedIn, and Instagram.
Okay, perfect. And we will link all of your information to this podcast. We're going to send all of this to all of our platforms, and I will send you a copy as well so that you can put it on your website and all of your social
Yes.
media as well. So I want to thank you so much, Karen. You're always such a pleasure to be with and to talk to. And I really hope that others can see the value that they would have in their investment with you. And I think that you would do an amazing job with other entrepreneurs or even other nurses or anybody who even has the thought that they want to go into business. If they have that imposter syndrome, oh, I can't do that, I'm sure that you would be able to help them immensely.
Yes. Yep. Thanks, Karen. And like, can't wait to see you in July.
In July, yes,
Uh-huh.
thank you. All right, take care. Have a
So,
wonderful day.
you too.
All right,
Thanks,
bye bye.
Karen. Bye.